Okay, so people from online can able to hear me. So can you see my whiteboard? Please confirm me in the chat box once. Okay, so thanks for joining. So let me read the question here. So yes, we supposed to have the session from Monday to Friday, but as I said, like I'll be not available on Monday, so I was compensating that particular session on Saturday. Okay, and today also the session will be up to around 10 o'clock only. I have to leave early. Okay, so instead of canceling, let me schedule this session. So door close. We will recap the yesterday's session once, and then we'll. So people from online, uh, please wait until the end of the session if you have any doubts. So at the end, I'll answer all your questions. Uh, you can post all your questions in the chat box at the end. So I'll be telling you when you need to post your question. So we'll start with recapping that yesterday's session once. So yesterday we planned or we learned of what is EC2 service, right? So what is EC2 service? What is the full form of EC2? Elastic Compute Cloud. So why do we call it as Elastic Compute Cloud? So because whenever we create any machine in the cloud, so that will have a flexibility of increase the RAM or decrease the RAM. So that is the reason we call it as elastic. So compute means, as I said earlier, compute is nothing but RAM, memory, CPU, processor. So all comes under compute environment. And coming to the cloud, so end of the day, we are hosting on cloud. So yesterday we started discussing of the first service in AWS, which is EC2, Elastic Compute Cloud. Okay. Hope you're all good with this particular name, right? Because this name you will be keep on hearing until how many days that you work in AWS. So you'll keep on hearing this EC2 service, because without EC2, there is no AWS. Because definitely we have to create a server in cloud, right? To create a server in cloud, the service which we are going to use is EC2. And inside the EC2, what we can create? Inside the EC2, what we can create? Instance. What is mean by instance? Instance is nothing but a virtual machine. Okay. So why do we call it as virtual machine? What is the reason? Why do we call it as virtual machine? Because this particular machine we are creating virtually. At the same time, we are not going to maintain this physically with us. It will be not physically located, or physically we are not maintaining it. On behalf of us, who are maintaining this particular hardware? Who will be maintaining this hardware on behalf of us? Service provider will maintain us. If I'm going to use AWS cloud, who is my service provider? AWS. So where is my physical hardware will be located? In data centers. Where the data center is located? In region availability zones. Where availability zone is located? In regions. So whenever you create anything in your AWS account, we always need to select a region, and then we need to create a services so that our hardware will be located to that particular region. Okay. So instead of calling it as a virtual machine, we are calling it as instance. Can I say that instance is nothing but a computer, or instance is nothing but a machine? I can say that instance is nothing but a computer, or instance is nothing but a machine. But the only difference is, as I said, the difference between our computer and a server is the configuration. Whenever you wanted to run your server for a long period of time, and 24/7, obviously the configuration will also be required properly. At the same time, we also need to maintain it properly. Clear? So yesterday I've told you an example. Whenever you want to create an instance, there are a few important steps that need to be noted. Okay. So creating of an instance is nothing but kind of a computer, like setting up a computer, right? Creating of a machine is nothing but a setting up a computer. If it is a hardware or if it is a computer is nothing but an hardware. So you will go and you will select the hardware components like RAM, memory, CPU and everything, operating system and everything. But here we will just select the options because here everything is virtual. We are not maintaining any physical hardware with us, right? Simply you'll be selecting options, whatever the options that you require, you will be selecting those options. In these options, I told you a few important steps yesterday. What is the first step? Exactly. So the first step is operating system. So instead of calling it as an operating system, like if you wanted to select an operating system, what do you need to select? What is the full form of AMI? Amazon Machine Image. So why we are calling it as Amazon Machine Image? The reason why we are calling it as Amazon Machine Image is, let's say, for example, this is a computer. Okay. This is a computer. Okay. In this computer, a particular operating system got installed. Any operating system. It can be a Linux or it can be Windows or anything. And if I added some packages in it, okay, the backup of this machine is nothing but an image. The backup of this machine is nothing but the backup of a machine is nothing but a the backup of this machine is nothing but a AMI. Okay. So here in the background, what Amazon Web Services is doing, they were creating a virtual machine. They will be installing an operating system on it, and they'll be taking a backup of this AMI. And if it is a Linux operating system, let's say, I can call it as a Linux AMI here, right? I can call it as a Linux AMI. So now, when you're creating a machine, if you select this Linux AMI, so you will be getting a machine with the Linux operating system. Similarly, we were having a different AMIs, not a single AMI. We are having a lot of AMIs. For Linux, we have like Ubuntu, we have CentOS, we have Red Hat Linux, we have Mac OS, we have Windows, we have in Windows also Windows 2016, we have 2012, we have all the different operating systems that which are available in the market. Those are all operating systems that you can able to see it here in the Amazon console with the name called AMI. Okay, always whenever you create an instance, you will be selecting the AMI which you want, and then the machine will be get ready. On top of it, whatever you want to host or whatever you want to install, we can log in and we can install it. We will see that today. How to create it and how to log into it, we will see that today. Okay, so after Amazon Machine Image, what is the next one? Exactly. So the next step is instance type. So coming to the instance type. So I told you about instance type yesterday, right? Whenever you are creating a machine, definitely you need to allocate memory, CPU and all, right? That step, we are calling it as instance type here. Okay, AWS divides, like classifies instance types into a different families, like T family, M family, R family. There are a lot of families based on the requirement, whatever the family that we want, we will select it. Each and every family will have a certain configuration. If T family is having a less processing speed, M family might have a more. Okay. So, and within the families also, they divided T2 micro, like T2 medium. For each and every instance family, there will be a different instance types again. T2 medium, T2 small, whatever it may be. Okay. Here, if I talk about a T2 micro, let's say, if I talk about T2 micro, okay, here T is nothing but, there is a T here, right? T is nothing but a family name. T is nothing but a family name. And there is a 2 here, right? 2 is nothing but generation. 2 is nothing but a generation. And there is a micro here, right? Micro is nothing but size of an instance. So this might helpful in the interview. Just make a note of it. Okay. Micro is nothing but a size of the instance. So if I talk about a T2 micro, T is a family name. Micro is size of the instance. 2 is a generation. We have different instance types within the family. And each instance type will have a specific configuration. Based on that, whatever the instance type that we want, we will select it. Okay. So apart from these 2 steps, we have another step called storage. We have another step called storage. Because storage is something like, we have a hard disk in our laptops, right? Without a hard disk, we won't have a machine. Either it can be an SSD or HDD. Without having a disk, can we install our operating system? Without having a disk space, can we install our operating system? Without having a disk space, we cannot have an operating system, right? So in that case, whenever you create a machine virtually as well, so that it requires some space, like some disk space, right? So that disk space will comes under the storage step. How much amount of GB that you want, you can allocate it. And later we can increase it as well. So we have a separate session on this storage. Okay. So here today, you just need to have an idea of what are all the steps at least that we have to create an instance. Okay. Regarding the storage, we will be having a separate session because we have a different storage types. All storages are not same. Let's say, for example, Google Drive is also a storage, and the laptop storage like hard disk is also a storage. You can install something on your laptop. Can you install something on your Google Drive? No, right? But both are storages. So both are two different types of storages. Even in AWS also, we have different types of storages. Okay. We will have a separate session on each and every storage type. Okay. So remember that whenever you create an instance, along with an AMI, along with an instance type, we also have an important step called storage. Okay, we will get in depth of storage later when we discussed about the storage concepts. Okay. And after storage, we also have a step called security group. Okay. So security group is something like a firewall for our server. Security group is something like firewall to our EC2 instance. We can able to manage the traffic in the security group. Whom should allow, like, whom should not allow, like whatever the traffic that which is coming towards to our EC2 instance. We can able to manage that in the security group as well. Regarding security group also, we will be having a separate session. We will get in depth of the security group. Okay. So as of now, how many steps that you got to know to create an instance? One is AMI, instance type, storage, security group. And one more important step is key pairs. We will get in depth of this key pairs concept now. Okay. See, whatever we required initially to create an instance, I'm getting in depth of it, particular option. Okay. The other options we will be exploring it slowly. Clear? Key pairs is for a security purpose for an EC2 instance. Because whenever you create a virtual machine, whenever you create a server in AWS, You should have a password to log in into that server, right? This key pair will act as a password to log into your instance for the first time. And later on, if you want to set up a password, you can also set up a password. Clear? So key pairs, we have two different formats, PEM and PPK. Whenever you create an instance, it will ask you to create either PEM key pair or PPK key pair. Whatever the key pair that you are creating at the time of creating an instance, the same key pair you will be using at the time of login. Okay. So mostly we'll use, for Windows, we'll use PEM key pair. Okay. For Linux, we'll use PPK. I'll show you how to create that and how to use it at the time of login while doing a practical. Okay. So what are the steps that you have seen now? AMI, instance type, storage, security group, key pairs. These are all basic steps that you require to create an instance initially in your AWS account. Okay. So we have the network and everything. We will explore it later. Okay. Do not bother about it. So whenever we create a Linux instance or a Windows instance, we will use a client to log in into that server, like something that we need to install in our laptops to log in into that servers. For Linux machines, we will use a client called Putty to log in into a machine. Okay. This particular Putty expects you to load a PPK file to log into the machine. Okay. For Windows, you will be using a tool called RDP, Remote Desktop Connection. Okay. For this, you should use a PEM file. It expects you to load a PEM file to log in into that machine. It won't allow you to load a PPK file. Clear? So let me go to the AWS account once and let me show you how to create an instance. So you can see an AWS console here. Uh, so top, we can see the services here, right? Whenever you want to explore any service or whenever you logged into the AWS console, let's say, even though if you don't know anything about a service, if you wanted to create it or if you want to explore it, simply go to the services and whatever the service name that you are thinking, like just type that service name here. Okay. You'll get the service name here. Just click on that service. It will navigate to that page. And you can see instances here, right? So as of now, I do not have any instances running on my machine so that I can see a 0 instances running on my machine. So you can click on instances and you can see there is an option called launch instance. Okay. So click on launch instances. You can see number of instances. You can also create number of servers at a time. If you wanted to create 3 servers, 4 servers at a time, you can also do that. And here I'm going to create one instance at a time. So I selected number of instances as 1. And here it is a name. So name is just like whatever the name that you want, you can create it. So I'm just giving it Windows. Okay. Scroll down. So now you can see here Amazon machine image. So this is what I told you, right? Amazon machine images. And you can able to see all the images here. Amazon Linux, Mac OS, Ubuntu, Windows, or whatever it may be. Whatever the operating system that you want, you can able to select that AMI here. So I'm going to select this AMI here. Okay. Scroll down and you can see instance types here. So I have told you different instance families that we have, right? If you can scroll down, you can see all the instance types. And for each and every instance type, you can see a configuration here, 0.5 GB memory and all. Okay. So let me just go with the T2 micro. And T2 micro instance type is only the one like which supports a free tier limit. So I suggest all you need to create an instances with T2 micro. Don't go with the T2 medium, T2 large and all. It generates the bill. Okay. Select the T2 micro. And the other option which I told you is key pair. So whenever you create an instance, for sure you need to create a key pair. So let me click on create new key pair. And let me click on PEM and let me give the name, like let me give it Windows or whatever it may be. And for Windows, I required a PEM file. So I'm selecting the PEM and I'm going to create key pair. So I'm allowing it to download. So it downloads into my local computer. Okay. Scroll down. Security group. You can see security group here. This is what I told you, right? For security group, as of now, I'm just leaving it to create a new security group. But later, when we explore about security group, you will get to know what need to be allowed, what not to be allowed, how you need to modify and all. Okay. As of now, I'm leaving it as a new security group. It is creating a new security group. Scroll down. You can see the storage. By default, how much storage that we are getting? 30 GB it is getting because Windows required minimum 30 GB of a storage. So that is the reason it is allocating minimum 30 GB in the initial itself. Later on, if you wanted to increase, we can also increase it as well. Okay. Scroll down. There is an option to launch instance here. Just click on launch instance. So I created an instance. So you can see Windows instance which is got created here. And if you click on a checkbox here, you can see all the options of, all the details of a particular EC2 instance which you selected. Okay. Now, to log into this EC2 instance, if you are using a Windows laptops, by default, there will be an RDP available in your laptops. Just go to the start, open, click on RDP. It opens an RDP portal. It will ask for an IP address. Give the public IP of an IP address. Okay. Since my operating system is different, let me just open my, before that, we need to click on connect. There is an option called RDP client here, right? Click on RDP client, scroll down. So there is an option to get password. Okay, there is an option to get password. Just click on get password. It will ask us to wait for 4 minutes because we have to wait until the operating system installed. Okay. Once the operating system installed, then only we can able to generate a password for this machine. Okay, we have to wait. So go back. So how will you know that whether it is ready or not? If the instance is ready, there is a status checks here, right? It is initializing here. It shows 2 by 2 checks. When it shows 2 by 2 checks, it means your instance isn't healthy. You can ready and you can generate a password for it. Okay. So we'll just wait for a couple of minutes. So like my machine is a different, right? So my operating system is Mac OS. So I have installed these Windows by following a different documentations. But in your case, you don't need to worry about it. So directly you will have a RDP in your laptops and the rest of the process will be the same. Okay. So in some cases, in your laptops, if you do not have an RDP, so when you click on a connect here, there is an RDP client here, right? There is an option to download remote desktop file. You can download it and you can open it. It will ask same IP address, username, password. Okay. Let's try to generate the password now again. You can see this username as an administrator here. Click on get password, upload the file. And this is the PM file which I have given, right? win.pem. I'm just uploading it. Scroll down, decrypt the password. So when I decrypt the password, I got the password. Okay. So just copy the password and somewhere put it on a notes or somewhere, or else directly paste it here. And username is administrator. Click on connect. Continue. Okay, so it is opening. Everything is same. I have given the IP address. I have given the username. I have given the password. I have opened the remote desktop in my laptop. You have to open the remote desktop in your laptop. Only the color will be the difference. For you, I think it shows around blue color or something. It shows use IP address. It will ask for a computer name. Computer name is nothing but an IP address. And after giving a computer name, if you click on connect, it will ask for username and password. Okay. Or else at the bottom, it will ask you to log in with a using of a different account. You can click on that. I'll tell you that. Okay. So just minimize this. Since I have created a Windows machine, this machine will looks same as your Windows laptops. Okay. The same Windows computer I have created in AWS now. That is the only difference. Clear? So this is the Windows machine, which I created in the AWS account now. This is a Windows server or Windows instance I can call. Is it clear? So it will be same. Like around 30 GB that we allocated to the EC2 instance at the time of creation, right? So you can click on S and you can click on this My Files. You can click on this PC. You can see 29.9 GB. It's around 30 GB that we allocated. I've shown you that, right? The storage, how much we allocated at the time of creation. So this is what this. Understood? So let me explain this again. So if you wanted to close this, so you can, for you, you will be having a close button in the middle. For me, I'm having it is at left side. So I'm closing it. Okay. So let me explain you on the notes again, how I created and how I logged in. Let me explain you how I created and how I logged in again. Okay. So let me go here. Let me explain you step by step creating of Windows instance. Okay. So first I've given the number of instances as 1. Number of instances as 1. And I selected Windows AMI, where I can able to see it on directly a board. Okay. And let me make it bold. Okay. So then I've selected T2 micro as instance type. And then I've created a key pair. I clicked on create, click on create key pair and select PM and it will be downloaded into your locker. And I rest of the details, I left it as default. I haven't modified anything. It is automatically creating a security group. I just clicked on launch instance. Okay. So now, after completing this, so we have to wait for 4 minutes. The next step is generating a password. The next step is generating a password. So how we need to generate the password? We have to select the instance, click on connect. Am I right or wrong? Click on connect and then select RDP client. There is an option, right? RDP client. Select RDP client. Then upload your PEM file. Am I right or wrong? If you just scroll it down, there is an option to upload your PEM file. Okay. And click on decrypt password. So once the password got decrypted, you need to copy and paste that password first somewhere, or else you will lose that. Okay, copy paste that. And then in your Windows laptops, simply go to the start. Left side bottom, we're supposed to have a start, right? Just type RDP. Just type RDP. Okay. After selecting RDP, you will show, after typing an RDP, a remote desktop application will be open. Just click on it. Okay, click on it. Then it will ask for your computer name. It means IP address of your computer. Provide the public IP address. So did you remember why we are providing a public IP here? Yesterday and day before yesterday, I have revised. The communication should between two different networks should be happen with the help of public IP. So we have created our EC2 instance in the AWS network. And my laptop is connected to Naresh IT network. These two are two different networks. Obviously, from this network to that network, if I wanted to connect, I should use public IP for it. So that is the reason I copied the public IP and have given the public IP there. Copy your public IP and give it in your RDP. In your RDP. Understood? And then click on connect. There is an option to connect. Click on connect. And it will ask for username and password. Always your username should be administrator. And the password you already generated it, right? Give the password. Click on login. You can able to enter into your Windows EC2 instance. Is it clear how I created Windows machine? So let me go back. See, you can see here RDP client. First of all, let me, after creating an instance, selecting the instance, click on connect or click on connect, click on RDP client, and there is an option to get password. Click on the get password, upload the file, decrypt the password, and then just open the RDP, give your IP address, username, password. That's it. That is how you can able to log in into your Windows machines. Okay. So let's say if I have, and let's say if I have an instance here. Okay. Now, this instance isn't running, right? We have to pay for this EC2 instance. So our most of the cost will be depends on operating system and the instance type. And the storage will have a separate cost. If I stop this instance, it won't be get billed for that instance type. Whenever it is running, then only it will be get built. Okay. So let's say, for example, if I'm creating an instance for any of the shopping complex, let's say if I talk about a DMart, if I hosted any billing application to on my EC2 instance, like we all go to the DMart, right? When we selected all the whatever things that we will be standing in a line at the billing counter, and there is an application at the billing desk, and they will be scanning our products and they'll be generating a bill. This all happens in the application only, right? And that application need to be run from morning 10 o'clock to evening 10 o'clock at least. And from night 10 o'clock to morning 10 o'clock, it doesn't require, right? So if I hosted my any of the applications similar to that on my EC2 instance, I can able to stop the instance if I don't require. Okay. Going to the instance state, and there is a stop option. If you stop the instance, it is stopping, right? It is stopping. If I stop the instance, we don't need to pay for it. For that instance type, we don't need to pay for it. And later, whenever I require, I can able to start the instance again. Let's say if I felt like I don't need this instance anymore permanently, I can delete the instance. So after stopping the instance is stopped now, right? Now we can able to instance state, and we can able to terminate the instance. Okay. To terminate the instance means completely deleting the instance. You cannot get your instance back again. Okay. After deleting the instance, it will be appear in the AWS console for 20 minutes. After that, it automatically disappears. You cannot get your instance back. Terminating is nothing but deleting the instance completely. Okay, that is the reason we are calling it as a pay-as-you-go model. Now, did you understood why we are calling it as pay-as-you-go model? If I buy a physical hardware to set up a same Windows machine, if I felt like I don't require that machine, can I get my money back immediately? I have to invest before, right? So before, if I'm buying a Windows computer, I have to invest my money there based on the configuration. And if I don't want, my money will get wasted. And is there any possibility to stop the Windows and start the Windows, and I can save the money there? I cannot, because I already invested the money on a RAM and CPU. Even though if I'm running for a long time, or even though if I'm not running, I have to pay for it. But here in the AWS console, if you create a same Windows server, you can able to start it whenever you want. You can able to stop it whenever you don't want. That is the flexibility that we have. And you have given a T2 micro instance type, and it is a free tier eligible. So that is the reason we gave it, which is like 1 CPU and 1 GB memory or something. In future, we may not, strict with this particular instance type, right? Whenever my instance goes live, or when I'm hosting an application, I require another instance type, which is having a more CPU and more memory. In that case, we can easily change the instance type within the same instance, within fraction of seconds. If I buy a physical machine, will that be easy for me to upgrade to the different instance, type, like different memory and CPU? There should be a compatibility. There will be a downtime. We have to change the hardware configuration. And if later, if I wanted to downgrade it, will that be easy? It won't be that much easy. But here in AWS, whenever you want, you can increase the instance type. Whenever you don't want, you can decrease the instance type. That is the flexibility that we have. Because of that, again, you can reduce the price. Like today, if I'm using T2 Micro for testing purpose, tomorrow when I'm going live, then I can increase my instance type. Unless I don't need to increase my instance type, and I can reduce my cost there, right? So these are the lot of flexibilities that we have. And even this instance is also a different purchasing models also. We will see that in the particular, in a couple of sessions. Clear? How you need to create a Windows machine, and how you need to log into the Windows machine, and how you need to stop it, how you need to start it, how you need to terminate it, and why we are starting and stopping the EC2 instance, and why we are terminating it, and what is pay-as-you-go model. Any doubts? Clear, everyone? So I'll go with an offline questions now, and then online questions, and then I'll come to the offline. Okay. So people from online, if you have any question, you can post it in the chat box now. So with respect to anything. For same configuration, do we have a different AMIs? See, we are not selecting the AMI based on the configuration. Configuration is separate, AMI is separate. First of all, you can choose whatever the operating system that you want. Then later on, for your machine, how much instance type that you want or how much RAM that you want, you'll be selecting it. There won't be any interlink. Okay. So, may I know what are the roles? So roles, as I said, like cloud engineering role, cloud operations role, SRE role, AWS associate engineer role, software roles. So these are all comes under all where you can see the cloud. Okay. So this course will help you there. So Satish, you can get the course content from the admin and you can see last 1 or 2 videos from the chat box as well. So I'll be posting the notes as well. And the reason why I'm writing on this particular board, I'll export it to the PDF. I'll upload it in the classroom as well. Apart from this, I'll be adding the descriptions as well for each and every service which I explained and the steps which I created. I'll be adding those steps in the running notes. Along with the running notes, whatever that I'm writing on the note whiteboard here, so that I'll export into the PDF and that also I'll be uploading into the classroom so that both you can refer it later. So instance will be created in a region inside the availability zone, not the data center. Whenever you create an instance, you will be selecting the region because we already selected a Mumbai region and there we are creating an instance. And inside that, you will also select the availability zone. So that concept we will be covering it later, not now. Okay, for that we need to know the networking concepts in AWS. After covering the networking concepts, then you will know how to create an instance in a specific availability zone as well. Clear? So data engineering is completely different. Okay. Cloud engineer is a different, data engineering is different. So in data engineering, only 20 to 30% of cloud services will be used. Rest of the part will be depends on SQL, Python programming, PySpark and all. Okay. So data engineering is completely different, Ramesh. We are covering only, cloud related and some DevOps related here. We are not covering the data engineering here because data engineering role, 100% it requires a coding first. PySpark is must, Python is must required for a data engineering. Class is complete. Class is completed. Okay. So, Dastagir, so it is enough to get a job. So if it is having any language like a Python, that will be an advantage. So, Ali, in real class, can you explain all this again? So I'm not sure what is the real class, but these are the real classes that we have started already. But the only point is we are going a little slow and with very basic concepts now. Going forward, we will increase that load and we will discuss more concepts. Okay. So to Nityanand, so clear the AWS Architect exam. After completing this course, for at least 1 month, you have to prepare for a test papers like dumps first. Then you need to give an attempt for a certification. Venugopal, yes. For each and every service which I explained, that will cover a practical real time. Okay. The way how we create in our organizations, in the same way I'll be explaining you. The way the scenarios which we faced in the organization, that is the what we are explaining here. So from offline, yes, you can come on from Tuesday. Professional level certification you can clear, but that requires a lot of practice because all the questions in the professional level will be comes with a scenario based. You have to understand the question and you have to pick up the answer from there. Linux classes, please talk to the admin. Tomorrow there won't be a class, or Monday also there won't be a class. Again, classes will be resumed on Tuesday. Okay. For AWS, we don't require any coding first. Okay. There is a service which will help you to execute the code. If you wanted to do any automations, you can use a script and you can do an automations. Okay. And any coding is not prerequisite to learn AWS. So whatever we done so far is we learn about regions, availability zones, what is on-premises infrastructure, what is data center, what is cloud, and what is an EC2 instance, how we can create that instance, how we can log into that instance. Clear? DevOps, as I said, we'll be doing a project of using Jenkins and GitHub Actions, deploying the Terraform templates. Terraform will also cover, and deploying the templates, Terraform templates using of these two pipelines. So Pramod, please get the content from the admin so that you can understand. Others for shell script, any coding is required, doesn't require. Okay. So I think I have done with all the questions from online. So I'm repeating it again. The class will be, we won't be having a class on Monday. We'll be having on Tuesday again to compensate the Monday's class. So I have taken the class today. Okay. So Dastigir, admin will reach out to you for it. So people from online, if you wanted to stay, you can stay, or if you wanted to leave, you can leave. So I'll be going and clearing the doubts for offline now. Okay. I'll be going on mute. And still, if you have any questions, you can also put it in the chat box as well and wait for my reply. See, let's say if I wanted to see what are the images that are available in Windows. If I type with Windows and if I click on enter, you can see here, right? So if I click on the, like whatever the image that we want, you can select it. Okay. So you can select it. And with that instance, we will never ever choose latest. There won't be any prerequisites. Let me look at a couple of other questions here. So we are connecting online and offline at a time, guys. We will be sending the Google Classroom notes later. So as of now, I didn't ask you to install anything. RDP is already there in your laptop. You don't need to install anything. When you need to install something, I'll let you know how to install it. Okay. To log into the Windows machine, you don't need to require any installations in your computer. One second, one second. Sundays, we do not have classes. Classes are from Monday to Friday. So the difference between AWS DevOps course and this course is here, along with AWS, we are also covering a couple of services on Azure and a couple of services on DevOps. Please get the course content, you'll get an idea on it. Okay, guys, so I'm ending the session. So thanks for joining. We'll connect on Tuesday again. Okay. Hope everyone is clear, people from online.